right, today is the day for my first bike race ever. We'll see how it goes. I've got backpack set up with hydration and some tools, a few extra tubes, and I've got my other goodie bag of gear. So yeah, it's 9:12. I'm gonna try and leave at 9:30. Race starts at 11. It should be about 40 degrees Fahrenheit. So like 1 or 2 degrees Celsius, which should be fun. So let's get on it. I've double, triple checked all my gear, filled my tires up, got my chain lubed, everything else. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. They call it a gravel race, but I think it's just on like, a lot of dirt roads. It's not really like a hardcore gravel race or anything, but we'll see. It's a little over 20 miles and ends at a brewery, so I should be able to get a beer. Should be a good time. All right, made it. It's pretty chilly, but getting all my stuff set up, getting the bike ready to go. I'm lucky number 47. Didn't really fit there very well, but whatever. So yeah, should be good. Put a fresh battery in the GoPro, mount it to the bars, and see how I do. It's my first ever race ever, so not quite sure how I'll do. I like to think I'll do good, but rule number one: don't ever underestimate your opponents. So we shall see. Shouldn't be too bad. It's not very windy, a little chilly, but it's not windy. Help keep the speed up a bit, I reckon. But yeah, I don't know. My whole month cycling through Europe hopefully prepared me for this. Let's get it. Okay, so I just completed my first bike race ever. It was a little over 20 miles, and I think there was like 37 people involved in the class that I entered, and I came in second, which is really good, but it gets even better because the person in front of me was an actual professional racer who raced for a bike company, and he was actually there after the race, sort of running their booth, running their show for it. And then third place finished about 10 minutes after I did, which when I went into this is the first race I've ever done. I didn't know what to expect. When I went into it thinking, I just don't want to finish last. That's it. I just don't want to be last. I don't care what position I'm in as long as I'm not last. And I mean, yeah, I thought about it strategically, obviously I don't want to just go balls out from the beginning, because then I'm going to be completely gassed and I'm not going to have anything in the tank, for the back part of the race. And I saw people there that were, on $10,000 bikes and fully kitted out, looked like they, look like Lance Armstrong's kids, legit, they looked the part. And I was just, there was one guy and one girl. I was like, yeah, they're winning. They're taking it. It is what it is. I don't know. That was just the thought that I had. I was like, yeah, but they're probably gonna win. And even from the beginning, they were way out front. I was like, yeah, they're taking it. But looks can be deceiving, I suppose, because it was started out paved, then it went to dirt, and there was way more climbing than I actually thought there would have been. And some of the descents were pretty sketch. I mean, for a road bike, a gravel bike, whatever you want to call it, pretty much no suspension, drop bars. Gravel bikes are just what mountain bikes used to be, with a little bit more modern components. They're, before suspension was on mountain bikes, they were essentially just beefy road bikes, and that's all a gravel bike is. It's a 70s. It's a modernized 70s mountain bike. Mine is more set up as like an endurance bike. Like it's more like road based, but I'm meant to throw bags on it, meant to throw front and rear pannier bags, meant to carry a little more weight, meant to go the distance, not strictly just road. And on the trip that I just went on in Europe, sometimes you're on a really nice road, sometimes you're on a really bad road, sometimes you're on a road that is a straight four-wheel drive track. So some of the roads on this, it was a lot of up and down. I'm not quite sure when my GoPro shut off, but I was more focused on finishing the race than I was switching the battery out in my GoPro. Hopefully, I haven't watched it yet. Hopefully it was after I crossed the finish line. That would be ideal, but something tells me it's not. But it was very up and down, and eventually, coming down, it was real washboard, real rutted out, and pretty deep dirt. And everything in my brain was like, bro, hit the brakes a little bit, unclip one of your feet so if something happens you can put it down. And I was like, nah. I'd rather crash. Like, fuck it, let's go, let's run it. And I was cooking. I think my top speed was 30.7 miles an hour. Average was over 16 miles an hour. So yeah, some of those downhills, I could see how some of the other people would have been, okay, this is sketch. If you hadn't ridden mountain bikes before, if you hadn't done BMX or dirt jumping or anything where you're used to being scared but still plugging along, I think that's what got me through a lot of it. So yeah, the guy who beat me, at one point I was in the absolute lead, which I knew it wasn't gonna last, but I was in the absolute lead, and out of nowhere, this dude just flies past me. And he wasn't that far ahead of me, probably 500-600 feet. He wasn't that far ahead of me. And then while I was going down one of these hills, all of a sudden my chain fell off. I was transitioning in the front from the big sprocket to the little sprocket, and I must have hit a bump just right or put enough pressure on it, or something happened and the chain fell off. So I got off the bike, just hammer fisted the pedal to get it back loose because it was wedged between the sprocket and the frame itself. So I just hammer fisted it, grabbed it, yanked it back onto the sprocket, and I was ready to go. I was back on the bike. So at this point, the guy who won was about a quarter mile from me. There was no way I was catching him. There was no way. But also during this lull, the people behind me, they got closer to me, but they didn't catch up. And as soon as I hit like the 10-mile mark, I ramped up the effort a bit. I was pretty leisurely for the first 10 miles. At that 10-mile mark, I ramped it up. The last 5 miles, I was just full on. Even though when I look back, most of the time when I look back, I didn't see anybody. But sometimes when I looked back, I did see somebody, and they were far away. But I was still just like, nah. I'm giving it everything that I got. Like I'm not gonna get that rabbit. How can I not think of it? The tortoise and the hare. I'm not gonna get cocky or get arrogant and be like, I've got this. And it's like, no, I'm giving it all that I got. Last 5 miles, every bit of everything I had was being poured into that ride. And I finished over 20 miles, hour and 16 minutes. It's pretty good, with about almost 1,000 feet of elevation gain, up and down. Probably 80% of it was on unpaved roads. It was it was a tough one, but man, I didn't think I was gonna come in second. And even the people running the event were like, yeah, you came in second, but does the guy in first really count? I mean, he's a pro racer. Like, I don't think that really counts. They said they didn't think it really counts. I consider it coming in second, but dude, I was not expecting it. And it felt really good. And they even said, we're going to have a photographer at the finish line, and, she's going to be taking pictures, and there's supposed to be a guy who's, announcing, what number's coming up and what position they're finishing in and all this stuff. I get there. The photographer lady's just sitting on the ground and there's no announcer set up. I literally got there before they had the announcer set up. I got there before they could take the pictures. Like, I don't know. I crushed it. I crushed it. I wasn't expecting it, I went into this being like, I don't want to come in last. That's it. I don't care if I'm 34 out of 35. Don't want to come in last. And then, I see all these people with all this like super, super high-end bike. And my bike isn't crappy, and my kit isn't crappy, but it's, it's not top tier. And you see these people where it's like, all their stuff is top tier, all their gear is top tier. They look the part. I'm just some tattooed scumbag who, was probably just going so fast because I wanted a beer at the end. I don't know. Maybe I do look the part. Maybe I do have the sick bike, but I see these people and it's, I don't know. I guess intimidating. As intimidating as somebody on a road bike can possibly be. As intimidating as I'm going to go race this person on a road bike can be. But yeah, it was just wild. Then you see other people where it's, they don't have that nice of a bike, and they don't have a nice type of gear. But then it's also the mindset of like, you can't underestimate these. Never underestimate your opponent. Never underestimate anybody. The guy with the cheap bike and the cheap kit, he could blow your doors off. You just don't know. So, and this is my first race. Like, I had no idea what to expect. I just didn't want to come in last. That's it. So when I'm at mile 15, mile 12, mile 10, I look back and the guy in front of me, yeah, he's a dot. But then when I look back, the people behind me, also dots. And it was like one person behind me, way behind me. I couldn't see anyone behind him. And when I crossed that line, and I crossed that line, see my wife, see my dog. They come running up to greet me, and it's all cool. And the photographer is not even there, and the guy doing the announcement's not even there. And I'm able to go to my car, pull my bike computer off, pull my tail light off, pull my little bag that had my phone and stuff in it, all the stuff all the little bike attachments. Put my bike, go store it, go inside. They gave me a little. It was a brewery, so you started a brewery, ended a brewery, and they gave you a little tag. So I was able to do all that, go in, get my beer, use the restroom, come out, sit down, got about halfway through my beer, and then dude in third crosses the line. And by the time the first guy crossed and then I crossed, then all of a sudden they're like, oh wow, this class is getting here. Better set up.
The baby. Oh my goodness.
I don't know. The mix of endorphins from not only the exercise, but then blowing my expectations away, coming in second out of 35, 37 people, and not just like coming in second by this much. No, 10 minutes for number 3 to get in, and number 1 was a pro racer on top of the world. On top of the world is how I felt. So thank you guys so much for watching. I had an absolute blast today, and I feel so good. I feel so good. I'm sure that it's going to be a while before. I'm sure if I ever enter another race, it's going to be, and I can't expect this to just be consistent results. I can train like I want to feel this way again, but I can't expect it to be consistent results. But today, I took the W, and it feels good. It feels real good. So thank you guys so much for watching. I had an absolute blast today. Yeah, I'll catch you guys next time.